Think your old Lincoln penny is worthless because it's worn out or in bad condition? Think again. Some rare state and mint Lincoln pennies, even heavily circulated or damaged ones, have sold for thousands. And a few legendary error coins are worth millions of dollars to collectors. In today's video, we're revealing the most valuable Lincoln pennies you should check right now in your pocket change, coin jar, or old collection. You might be holding a tiny copper coin that could change your life. Don't spend another penny until you watch this. First up, the Lincoln Penny 2000D mint mark is a modern United States 1-cent coin that belongs to the famous Lincoln Cent series, a coin line that began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States and one of the most respected leaders in American history. The 2000D penny was produced at the Denver Mint, and the small d under the year 2000 on the front of the coin tells collectors that it was struck in Denver, Colorado. This coin represents a period when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies each year for everyday circulation, meaning the 2000D penny is extremely common and widely found in pocket change, coin jars, and bankrolls around the world. The coin's obverse, front, shows the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln's portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty" to the left side, and the year 2000 with the D mint mark just below the date. The reverse, back of the coin, features the Lincoln Memorial Building, a design that was used on Lincoln pennies from 1959 until 2008. Inside the memorial, if you look closely with magnification, you can see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated between the columns, which is a fascinating detail that many people do not notice at first glance. The 2000D Lincoln penny is made from 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, a composition that has been used for most U.S. pennies since mid-1982. Before 1982, pennies were mostly copper, but rising metal prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to zinc cores with thin copper coating. Because of this zinc composition, modern pennies like the 2000D are lighter and more prone to corrosion or bubbling if exposed to moisture or harsh conditions. The coin weighs 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a plain edge without reading. Billions of these coins were struck at the Denver Mint in the year 2000, with an estimated mintage of over 8 billion coins, making it one of the most common pennies in circulation. Due to this extremely high mintage, the 2000D penny is generally not rare and usually holds only its face value of 1 cent if it has been circulated and shows wear, scratches, dirt, or discoloration. Many people in countries outside the United States, including collectors in Pakistan, India, Europe, and other regions, still collect these coins because they are part of the globally popular Lincoln Cent series. Even though the 2000D penny is common, coin collectors still pay attention to this coin because certain mint errors or high-grade examples can have extra value. Some possible errors include off-center strikes, double die errors where the design appears doubled, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal. While most 2000D pennies are only worth face value, a coin with a clear mint error could be worth anywhere from a few dollars to much higher, depending on the rarity and condition of the error. Additionally, collectors look at the color and preservation of the coin. Lincoln cents are often graded by color: brown, BN, for darker coins, red-brown, RB, for partially original color, and red, RD, for coins that still have their bright copper shine from the mint. A 2000D penny in brilliant red uncirculated condition, graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, might be worth a small premium, sometimes a few dollars, because it is difficult to keep modern copper-plated coins in perfect condition over time. The year 2000 itself was historically significant because it marked the beginning of a new millennium. Many people saved coins from the year 2000 as keepsakes or souvenirs, even if they were not rare. For Lincoln cent collectors building a complete date and mint collection, the 2000 D penny is an essential piece because it represents the Denver Mint's production for that year. The Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse would continue for several more years until 2009, when special bicentennial Lincoln designs were released, followed by the Union Shield reverse in 2010. This makes the 2000 D penny part of the later years of the Lincoln Memorial era, which lasted nearly 50 years. If your 2000 D Lincoln penny is in bad condition, with heavy wear, scratches, corrosion, or stains, it will most likely only be worth 1 cent. However, it can still be interesting to keep as part of a coin collection or as a learning piece for beginners in numismatics. Many collectors enjoy searching through common coins like the 2000 D penny because sometimes rare errors or high-grade examples are discovered unexpectedly. It is important not to clean the coin, as cleaning can damage the surface and reduce any potential collector value. Instead, store the coin in a dry place or in a coin holder if you want to preserve it. Overall, the Lincoln Penny 2000 D mint mark is a modern, common coin that represents everyday American currency at the turn of the millennium. While it is not rare in normal circulated condition, it remains an important part of the Lincoln Cent series and a favorite among beginner collectors. Its true value depends on condition, color, and whether it has any unusual mint errors. For most people, it is simply a 1-cent coin, but for collectors, it is a small piece of history connected to Abraham Lincoln and over a century of U.S. coin design and production. The Lincoln Penny 2003 without a mint mark is a United States 1-cent coin that was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, because on modern U.S. pennies, a missing mint mark usually means the coin was produced in Philadelphia. The Lincoln Cent series began in 1909 and has continued for more than a century, making it one of the longest-running and most widely collected coin series in the world. The 2003 penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse era, which ran from 1959 to 2008. On the front of the coin is the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around Lincoln's portrait, you will see the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," across the top, "Liberty" on the left side, and the date 2003 on the right. Because this specific coin has no mint mark under the date, it indicates Philadelphia production. On the reverse side of the coin is the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., with the words United States of America across the top, E Pluribus Unum above the memorial, and 1 cent at the bottom. If you look closely with a magnifying glass, you can even see the tiny statue of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial, which is a well-known detail collectors enjoy spotting. The 2003 Lincoln Penny is made from 97.5% zinc with a 2.5% copper plating, a composition used for most U.S. pennies since mid-1982. This means the coin has a zinc core with a thin outer copper layer, giving it the traditional copper appearance but a lighter weight. The coin weighs 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a smooth edge. Because it is copper-plated zinc, it can easily become discolored, scratched, or corroded if exposed to moisture or rough handling. This is why many 2003 pennies found in circulation today appear dull brown or spotted rather than bright red. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies in 2003, with a mintage of more than 3 billion coins, making the 2003 penny without a mint mark very common. Most examples in circulated or bad condition are worth only face value, 1 cent. However, collectors still search for these coins because certain high-grade examples or mint errors can carry additional value. In coin collecting, condition is extremely important. A 2003 penny without a mint mark can be classified by color and grade. Coins that still have their original bright copper shine are called red, RD, and are more desirable. Coins that are partly red and partly brown are called red-brown, RB, and dark or heavily circulated coins are labeled brown, BN. A heavily worn or damaged 2003 penny is usually worth only 1 cent, but a sharp, uncirculated red example graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC could be worth a few dollars to collectors. While this is not a rare coin, people still collect them to complete date sets of Lincoln cents. Some collectors also save coins from the early 2000s as modern keepsakes or for educational purposes. Another reason collectors examine the 2003 no mint mark penny closely is the possibility of mint errors. While most 2003 pennies are normal, a small number may show interesting mistakes from the minting process. These include off-center strikes, double die errors where the lettering appears doubled, clipped planchets, broad strikes, or coins struck on the wrong metal. Such errors can increase the coin's value significantly, depending on how dramatic the error is and how well the coin is preserved. Even a small error could make the coin worth several dollars or more. However, true major errors are rare, and most 2003 pennies without a mint mark are simply common circulation coins. Historically, the year 2003 falls within the final years of the Lincoln Memorial design, before the U.S. Mint introduced the special 2009 bicentennial Lincoln designs, and later the Union Shield reverse, starting in 2010. This means the 2003 penny represents part of the long-running Lincoln Memorial era that many collectors grew up with. The coin is not rare, but it is still a part of American history and one of the most recognized coins worldwide. People in many countries collect Lincoln cents because they are affordable and easy to find, making them popular among beginner collectors. If your 2003 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is in bad condition, scratched, worn, or discolored, it will almost always be worth only its face value. Still, it can be interesting to keep as part of a collection or to examine for errors. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning can damage its surface and reduce any potential collector value. Instead, store it in a dry place or in a small coin holder if you want to preserve it. Even though it may not be valuable in monetary terms, it still represents a piece of modern coinage history and the enduring legacy of the Lincoln cent series. In summary, the Lincoln penny 2003 without a mint mark is a common Philadelphia minted coin made of copper-plated zinc, widely circulated and usually worth 1 cent in worn condition. Its value can increase slightly if it is in excellent uncirculated condition, or if it has a noticeable mint error. For most people, it is simply an everyday coin, but for collectors, it is another important date in the long and historic Lincoln penny series that has been part of U.S. currency for more than a century. The Lincoln penny 2020D mint mark is a modern United States 1-cent coin struck at the Denver Mint, and it is part of the long-running Lincoln cent series that began in 1909 and continues today. The small letter D under the year 2020 on the front of the coin shows that it was produced in Denver, Colorado. This coin represents the modern era of U.S. coinage and belongs to the design type introduced in 2010, which features the Union Shield reverse rather than the older Lincoln Memorial design. On the obverse, front of the 2020D penny, you will see the familiar right-facing portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner more than a century ago. Around the portrait are the inscriptions "In God We Trust" at the top, "Liberty" on the left side, and the year 2020 with the D mint mark just below the date. The reverse, back, shows a shield with vertical stripes and a banner across it reading E Pluribus Unum. Above the shield is United States of America, and at the bottom is 1 cent. This shield design symbolizes national unity and has been used on Lincoln pennies since 2010, making the 2020D penny part of the current design era. The 2020D Lincoln penny is made from 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, which has been the standard composition for U.S. pennies since 1982. Because of this zinc core with copper coating, the coin weighs 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters and a smooth edge. Modern pennies like the 2020D are lighter than older copper pennies and can develop spots, discoloration, or corrosion if exposed to moisture, chemicals, or rough handling. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of pennies in 2020, with a mintage of well over 2 billion coins, making the 2020D penny extremely common. Most examples found in circulation, especially those in worn or bad condition, are worth only face value, which is 1 cent. However, collectors still keep examples from each year and mint mark to complete their Lincoln cent collections. Many collectors also save coins from recent years because they are part of modern history and may be interesting to future collectors. Although the 2020D penny is common, condition plays an important role in its collector value. A coin that is heavily circulated, scratched, or discolored will usually be worth only 1 cent. But if the 2020D penny is found in uncirculated condition, with full red luster and no damage, it can be worth more to collectors. Modern Lincoln cents are graded by color as well as condition. Red for bright copper coins, red-brown for partially toned coins, and brown for darker coins. A high-grade, uncirculated 2020D penny, graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, might sell for a small premium, often between a few cents and a few dollars depending on quality. While this is not a rare coin, some collectors enjoy searching rolls of pennies to find the best quality examples. Another important aspect collectors watch for is mint errors. Even in modern years like 2020, minting mistakes can occur. Some possible errors include off-center strikes, double die varieties, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. If a 2020D penny has a clear and significant mint error, its value could be higher than face value and sometimes worth several dollars or more, depending on the rarity and condition of the error. However, most 2020D pennies are normal and do not have major errors. It is still worth checking carefully with a magnifying glass if you are a coin enthusiast. The year 2020 was also notable in world history due to global events such as the COVID-19 pandemic. And coins from this year are sometimes kept as historical reminders of that period. Even though the 2020D penny itself is not rare, it represents a specific moment in time, and is part of the continuing Lincoln cent series that has existed for over a century. For collectors building a complete set of Lincoln pennies by year and mint mark, the 2020D is an essential piece. Many beginner collectors start by saving modern pennies like this one because they are easy to find and inexpensive. If your 2020D Lincoln penny is in bad condition, with scratches, dirt, or corrosion, it will almost always be worth only 1 cent. Cleaning the coin is not recommended, as cleaning can damage the surface and reduce any potential value. If you want to keep it for collecting purposes, store it in a dry place or in a coin holder to protect it. Even though it may not be valuable in monetary terms, it still has educational and historical interest as part of the Lincoln cent series and modern U.S. coinage. In summary, the Lincoln Penny 2020D mint mark is a common modern coin produced at the Denver Mint with a zinc core and copper plating, featuring the Lincoln portrait on the front and the Union Shield design on the back. It is widely circulated and usually worth face value in worn condition, but uncirculated examples or coins with mint errors can carry a small premium. For collectors, it is another important year in the Lincoln cent series, and for most people, it remains a simple, everyday coin that continues the legacy of one of the most famous coins in the world. The Lincoln Penny 2005, without a mint mark, is a United States 1 cent coin that was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Because in modern U.S. coinage, a missing mint mark on a penny normally means it was struck in Philadelphia. The Lincoln cent series began in 1909 to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and by 2005 it had already become one of the most widely collected and recognized coin series in the world. The 2005 penny belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse era. 1959 to 2008, which is loved by many collectors because of its long run and classic design. On the obverse, or front, of the 2005 penny, you will see the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Around the portrait are the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," across the top, "Liberty" on the left side, and the date 2005 on the right. Because this coin has no mint mark below the date, it confirms that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. On the reverse, back, is the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., with the words United States of America at the top, E Pluribus Unum above the memorial, and 1 cent at the bottom. A small but famous detail of this design is the tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible between the columns of the memorial, which many people only notice after careful inspection. The 2005 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is made of 97.5% zinc with a thin 2.5% copper plating, a composition used for most U.S. pennies since 1982. This means the coin has a zinc core that is coated with copper to give it the traditional penny appearance. The coin weighs 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters, and a smooth, plain edge. Because of the zinc core, modern pennies like the 2005 issue are more vulnerable to corrosion, bubbling, and surface damage if exposed to moisture or chemicals. This is why many circulated 2005 pennies appear dark, spotted, or worn. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies in 2005, making this coin extremely common in circulation. As a result, most 2005 no-mint mark pennies found in everyday condition are worth only face value, 1 cent. Even though the 2005 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is common, collectors still pay attention to it for several reasons. One major factor is condition. Lincoln cents are graded not only by wear, but also by color. Coins that still retain their original bright copper shine are classified as red, RD, and are more desirable. Coins that show some toning are classified as red-brown, RB, while heavily circulated coins are labeled brown, BN. A heavily worn or damaged 2005 penny is usually worth only 1 cent, but a well-preserved uncirculated red example graded MS65 or higher by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC may be worth a small premium, sometimes a few dollars. While these values are not high, collectors enjoy finding high-quality modern coins because it is surprisingly difficult to keep them in perfect condition over time. Another reason collectors examine the 2005 penny carefully is the possibility of mint errors and varieties. Although most 2005 pennies are normal, some may have mistakes from the minting process. These errors can include off-center strikes, doubled dies where letters or numbers appear doubled, clipped planchets, broad strikes, die cracks, or even coins struck on the wrong metal. A genuine mint error can increase the coin's value significantly, depending on how noticeable and rare it is. Even a small but clear error could make a 2005 penny worth several dollars instead of just 1 cent. However, major errors are uncommon, so most 2005 pennies remain standard circulation coins. From a historical perspective, the 2005 Lincoln penny represents the later years of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, just a few years before it was replaced in 2009 by special bicentennial designs and later by the Union Shield reverse in 2010. For collectors, this makes the 2005 penny an important part of the transition period in Lincoln cent history. Many people around the world, including collectors in Asia, Europe, and South Asia, collect Lincoln cents because they are affordable, easy to find, and rich in historical significance. The 2005 no mint mark penny is often used by beginner collectors to learn about grading, mint marks, and error detection. If your 2005 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is in bad condition, scratched, corroded, or heavily worn, it will almost certainly be worth only its face value. Cleaning the coin is strongly discouraged because cleaning can damage the surface and lower any potential collector value. If you want to keep the coin, it is best stored in a dry environment or a coin holder to protect it from further damage. While it may not be valuable in terms of money, it still holds educational and historical value as part of the Lincoln Cent series. In conclusion, the Lincoln Penny 2005 without a mint mark is a common Philadelphia minted coin made of copper-plated zinc, featuring the classic Lincoln portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. It is widely circulated and usually worth 1 cent in worn condition, but higher-grade uncirculated examples or coins with genuine mint errors can be worth more. For most people, it is an everyday coin, but for collectors, it is another meaningful piece in the long and historic story of the Lincoln Cent, which has been part of American coinage for over a century. Next up,